While living in Nargothrond, Turin, son of Húrin, became an important advisor to King Orodreth and practically came to rule in his name, convincing them to abandon their traditions of secrecy and build a great bridge across the river Narog, then gathering and marching their armies to fight openly against the Dark Lord Morgoth at the Battle of Tumhalad. Unfortunately, their forces were unprepared to confront Glaurung, the father of dragons, who devastated their ranks with dragonfire. The battle was an important victory for the forces of Morgoth, who killed King Orodreth and sacked the city, slaughtering and enslaving its population. Glaurung also used his magic to place Turin in a hypnotic state, which caused him to stand by in a stupor as the elves he knew and loved cried out in anguish while carried away in chains. When Turin awoke from his trance, he did not immediately set out to rescue his allies, because the dragon Glaurung had twisted his mind, convincing him that his mother Morwen and younger sister Nienor needed him desperately in Dorlomin. Swiftly he took off after them, unaware that his mother and sister were safe, having left their homeland and traveled to Doriath searching for Turin. Arriving in Dorlomin, the son of Húrin learned that his mother and sister were gone, and was so enraged that he killed the Easterling lord Broda before turning back to seek out and rescue his friend Finduilas, taken during the sack of Nargothrond. Yet because of his journey west, he was too late to save her and collapsed in grief upon her burial mound. Returning to the forest of Brethil, Turin now named himself Turambar, meaning Master of Doom, and came across a beautiful woman crying with great sadness and no memory of her past. She took the name Niniel, and soon they fell in love and were married, and for a short time, Turin knew true happiness. But the curse upon his family had not ended, and soon enough he faced his old foe once more, setting out to confront Glaurung, who was attacking the area. Turin set out with two companions, one of whom lost heart and abandoned them, while the other continued on, fighting and dying in the battle. Yet eventually, Turin succeeded in landing a killing blow, crying out, "Hail, worm of Morgoth! Well met again! Die now, and the darkness have you! Thus is Turin, son of Húrin, avenged." Yet as Glaurung lay mortally wounded, he once again used his powers to enter Turin's mind, causing the man to collapse unconscious by his side. Turin's wife Niniel then found them, and Glaurung used his final moments to inflict more pain and tragedy against the family of Húrin, lifting the veil of amnesia to reveal that her name was actually Nienor, sister of Turin Turambar. Nienor and her mother had spent some time in Doriath, but soon Morwen took off for Nargothrond in search of her son, who was rumored to be in the city. Nienor, unwilling to stay behind, also made the journey, only to find the city already fallen. Glaurung then used his magic to raise a mist from the river, causing Nienor to lose all her memories, eventually losing her way in the forest of Brethil and collapsing in tears, where she was found by her brother Turin, though neither of them recognized the other. When Nienor realized she married her own brother and was pregnant with his child, she threw herself into a ravine, taking her own life. Turin then awoke and was told what had occurred by Brandir the Lame, lord of the Haladin, but was so enraged by his words he would not believe it, killing the man before many witnesses. Yet when his friend Mablung of Doriath arrived and confirmed the truth of Brandir's words, Turin could no longer abide the misery and tragedy of his life, deciding to end it all by falling upon his sword. And so, with Húrin's children all dead, the Dark Lord Morgoth feigned mercy and freed his captive, knowing that the man was now broken and might bring his misery and doom upon others he encountered. Finally free, Húrin first returned home to Dorlomin, but found it occupied by the Easterlings, with the last of his people enslaved or killed. He then set out to find Gondolin, where he might take refuge with King Turgon, but when he arrived in search of the eagles who might carry him into the city, he received no response, as the king feared this might be a trap by the Dark Lord. Húrin, feeling betrayed by the king for whom he'd sacrificed so much, then yelled out in anger, "Turgon, Turgon, remember the fen of Serek. O Turgon, will you not hear in your hidden halls?" Yet by yelling out in this way, he revealed to Morgoth the general location of Gondolin, which would ultimately contribute to the city's downfall. Turned away, Húrin continued on to the forest of Brethil, where he was at last reunited with his wife Morwen, encountering her at the graves of their children. Yet the years had been hard on the woman, and he found her in rags, weary from heartache and despair. Saying their final words to each other, Morwen died and was buried alongside her children. The location of their graves was one of the only areas to survive the destruction of Beleriand at the end of the First Age, becoming the island of Tol Morwen. Húrin, now poisoned with bitterness and hatred in his heart, found the petty dwarf Mim and killed him for his betrayal of Turin, then heading to Doriath, where he scornfully blamed King Thingol for failing to protect his son. Yet Melian the Maya saw that Húrin was not in his right mind, and used her magic to lift the cloud of darkness, corrupting his thoughts. His mind now clear, Húrin saw all the harm he'd done, and how his actions only served to help the Dark Lord Morgoth. Distraught and no longer able to cope with the curse that destroyed his family, Húrin Thalion, hero of the House of Hador and rightful lord of Dorlomin, ended his own life throwing himself into the sea. And while the story of Húrin and his children was one of great tragedy, according to the second prophecy of Mandos, they would one day be avenged in the Dagor Dagorath, the final battle at the end of the world in which the Valar will wage war one last time against the Dark Lord Morgoth. According to the prophecy, in that day Tulkas shall strive with Morgoth, and on his right hand shall be Eonwe, and on his left Turin Turambar, son of Húrin, coming from the halls of Mandos, and the black sword of Turin shall deal unto Morgoth his death and final end, and so shall the children of Húrin and all fallen men be avenged. Have a passion for the nerdy? No matter what you geek out about, Loot Crate has a box for you with exclusive collectibles, apparel, and gear delivered right to your door every month. If interested, be sure to click on the link in the description box below. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Knight of the X, Michael Edwards, Master of Dagger and Coin, Knight of the X, Jordan Stark, Fen the Sundowner, and Kagor the Reborn Snow. If you would like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.